So, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel where we discuss all things golf and streetwear. And in today's video, we got a pretty quick video. I'm kind of talking about something on the channel that I never really imagined that I would actually be talking about. And that's actually an Odd Future clothing drops. So just in case any of you might be confused on the difference between what Odd Future and Golf Wing and Golf LaFleur are, I'm sure most of you, if you're regular viewers on the channel, then you're probably already very aware of what this difference is. But just in case any of you might be unfamiliar, Odd Future is, of course, the rap group from the late 2000s to the early 2010s that had Tyler, Earl, Frank, and a bunch of other artists in it back in the day. And before Tyler had Golf Wing, in the very early stages of Odd Future, a lot of the clothes that he and a lot of the other people who were also in Odd Future, a lot of the clothes that they were designing was under this Odd Future branding. So of course you've got like the donuts and like all the cats and stuff like that. Those are kind of like the iconic designs from that era. And kind of slowly but surely around, I think, like 2012, 2013, Tyler officially started his own clothing brand called Golf Wing. So Odd Future was kind of the clothing brand before Golf Wing emerged, and it was obviously very extremely tied to the group. I'm not exactly sure how all of this went down, but some way or another, Zumiez ended up buying the rights to the Odd Future branding and clothing line. Pretty much all, as far as like new stuff that's coming out, all the stuff you see with like Odd Future branding or with the little like Odd Future donuts, anything like that, that is actually made by Zumiez now. It's not made from anybody that had anything to do with it in the early days. And for the most part, a lot of the Odd Future stuff that Zumiez has been putting out is very repetitive. They literally haven't introduced like any new designs hardly or anything like that. All kind of latching on to that early 2012, like 2011 nostalgia, which is perfectly fine to be like, nostalgic about an era. I get the same way sometimes, but it's just really repetitive. Like it's always like, okay, here's like another Odd Future donut hoodie, and instead of pink, we're gonna do it in like blue. And then they'll be like, okay, instead of doing like a big donut on the hoodie, we'll do like a little small one on the side. It's just like little stuff like that. It's like just different variations of the designs that were already established early on. So honestly, for me, the brand got very repetitive very quickly. So for those reasons, I never, like when I started this channel back in 2019, I never, like up until this point, I've never talked about an Odd Future drop. That's actually going to change today because very recently they actually put out something that I think was actually really cool. And if you're a fan of classic Golf Wing, and especially if you're a fan of those early Odd Future albums, this is something that's really going to interest you. What I'm talking about is, if any of you aren't familiar, coming up this year, March 20th, 2022, will be the anniversary of the Odd Future Volume 2 tape. And kind of to commemorate the anniversary of this album, Zumiez is coming out with some stuff under the Odd Future line, of course, in celebration of that album, which I actually think is a really cool idea. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get straight into the video and give you guys a little preview on a lot of the products that they have available. So we don't actually have a ton to talk about today. There's really only two different designs, and from what I've seen, I definitely recommend you guys go and get on the website yourself if you're interested in this, because they actually have a lot more products under the Odd Future branding than I thought they would. But I've looked over all the products, and these are the only three that I saw. So the first thing we have is actually a crew neck, and as you can tell, it's got that classic Odd Future Volume 2 album cover centered on the front of the chest here. This one seems to be like the main cover. This is the one that I know is like on Spotify and stuff like that. So what we have here is just a baby blue crew neck, like I said, with the album artwork centered in the middle. And then on the back here, we just have the date in that classic, I'm pretty sure this is called like the Cooper or Copper font, one of the two. That's a font that like Tyler used all the time in the early days on a lot of the album covers and stuff. It's even coming in that same colorway that they did a lot back in the classic days as well. Just up here on the top, March 20th, 2012, obviously the original release date of the mixtape or album, whatever you want to call it. As you can tell, there's not like a whole lot going on here. It's not like a super intricate design or anything like that. Honestly, in my opinion, I don't think that it really needs to be. Myself, I never really looked at Odd Future as a clothing brand. I always looked at it as merch for Odd Future. So I think this honestly makes perfect sense. I'm not really looking for like a lot of sweaters and like button-ups and stuff from them, to commemorate the anniversary of the album. I think honestly, simple stuff like this is like literally perfect to do for these little anniversaries and stuff. So like I said, that's the first product, this really simple crew neck with a classic cover on the front and then the date on the back. Coming up next, once again, there's not a whole lot to talk about here. I just wanted to show you guys, they also have a black t-shirt colorway of this Odd Future anniversary design with that same classic cover with the date on the back. I just wanted to go ahead and show you guys that real quick. If any of you guys aren't looking to pay like $80 for a crew neck, but you still like the design, you can go check that out as well. And then finishing this out, coming in this green colorway, this is my personal favorite piece that's coming out of this little anniversary collection. collection. On the front of the t-shirt, we have the alternate version of the cover on the front, so I don't remember exactly whose body parts is which on the front of this cover, but it's pretty much all of the members of Odd Future, like different parts of their face, like their eyes or their ears or their head, photoshopped onto this one image on the front of this t-shirt. And then under, we just have that classic Odd Future font under the cover. And then on the back, we have the track list for the album, once again coming in that same classic font. And like I said, guys, of the two designs that I've seen, this one's definitely my favorite, although I do think both of them are good. I know just a second ago I was getting on them for doing this kind of like always reaching back, like grasping onto this like early nostalgia. I know like literally just earlier in the video that I was kind of getting on them for that. I'm not a big fan of when any brand does that. I really like to see people like innovating and just trying out new stuff. With things like this happening with these 10-year anniversary, I think it honestly does make perfect sense to have a callback to those early designs, because these pieces were kind of made to like celebrate that moment in time. So I do think it makes perfect sense that they're doing this kind of callback. It does look very similar to something that we might have seen in those early Odd Future designs 10 years ago, which is insane to say. I was literally like 11 years old when this album came out, and now I'm 21, and I like remember listening to this 10 years ago, which is insane to me to think that it was like literally a decade ago. But I do think it's really sick that they are celebrating this moment in this way. Any of you are fans of this album, or just kind of as a general statement, you love those early Odd Future designs and you're just kind of like nostalgic for that era, or if you were a young fan in that era such as myself who wasn't able to get merch from that time, whether it be because of the designs with like all the upside down crosses and stuff, or for the price point, whatever it may be, whether you weren't able to buy those early Odd Future items, I would definitely say that this is going to be your all's best bet to get a piece reminiscent of that era. I definitely don't anticipate Golf Wang to do anything like this, which is not bad. I definitely don't like expect Golf Wang to do anything like this, but this is definitely going to be your all's best bet to get pieces that are really reminiscent of those early golf designs and just kind of celebrating that album, because I know that there's still a huge demographic of people out there who do want these pieces in this style and who are just very nostalgic, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think we pretty much all are. You know, I just, like I said, I remember just being 11 years old and listening to it with my cousins and my grandmother, like literally throwing the album in the trash like 2 days later. Got a lot of memories attached to this album, so I get the same way all the time. I don't personally think I'm going to be picking any of these pieces up. However, I do think they're really cool, and it released a couple of days ago, and for the most part, I think it kind of flew under the radar, so I just wanted to get on here with you guys and just kind of really make a video letting you guys know about it, just in case any of you might be interested. But yeah, guys, definitely comment below and let me know your thoughts on these pieces. Do you love them? Do you hate them? Are you somewhere in the middle? Also, let me know any memories you might have associated with that early Odd Future tape. With the 10-year anniversary coming up here soon in just a couple of days, I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on it as well. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. As always, if you like this kind of content and you would like to see more, definitely like this video and subscribe to the channel. I have a ton of golf and streetwear content coming moving forward. But that'll do it for this video, guys. Thanks so much for checking this out. I'll see you in the next one.